What is going on, everybody? This is Slick from Breaking the Clutch, back again with another Halo Wars 2 video. Today, as you can tell by the title and the thumbnail, we are going to be doing a quick oh my god, I can't even say it. We are going to be doing a quick Scarab rush. Now, it's definitely improperly titled. I mean, you know, a rush has to be in, like, say, in the first 4 minutes, in my opinion anyway. Otherwise, it's just a plain opener. This is definitely not a rush at all. But for lack of better description, that's what it's going to be called. This build was shared to me from BtC Jacob, one of the admins over at the BtC Discord. So, without further ado, you start off with a harvester and then immediately build a power extractor. Grab a bunch of supply crates if possible. And then what you're going to want to do is just prepare for the long game, because this one is not quick by any means. The build's pretty simple. You go harvester, extractor, harvester, extractor, harvester. So you kind of keep that mantra rolling. You actually don't make anything until your 4th building is done, sometimes your 5th building on your main base. So as you're going to tell here, I'm just kind of spreading all my units out. It's incredibly crucial that you get at least one power crate drop at the start of the game. So as soon as your first extractor comes up, see harvester 3rd there, as soon as your first extractor comes up, you're going to upgrade it. And that is your goal with your 2nd extractor as well. So, just like this, we have harvester, extractor is the build still, and upgrade both extractors upon completion. Now, my build is also a little bit different from the other players that I've seen do this. Jacob, especially you, man, I've done a little bit of tweaks to the play style. Extractor 4th there. My goal, essentially, is to get two war councils up before I start my Scarab, so that way I can get advanced logistics up and running, and then my Scarab after that. That does add a lot of time onto the Scarab build. Sometimes it does not make sense to do so, but in this particular scenario, it helped me out and is going to save me in this game. You upgrade your extract the seconds you can there, and then you're actually going to buy a mini base after you built your 5th building on your main. So there you go, mini base is up and running. So at this point, what you're going to want to do is hoard as much power as possible. Once your mini base comes up, you're going War Council and going straight into a Hunter Captain, and that is the essential goal. You're going to try to get as many power nodes you can off the start before you deal with an engagement. You're going to try to defend at your main base with your Hunter Captain and hope that you survive long enough to at least get some kind of defense up to deal with certain units. The great thing about the colony leader in general, see, actually, your mini base is about to come up. I'm going to talk about this very briefly. Dealing with a Yap here. This is actually a random AI heroic leader. I just wanted to mess around, see, so... as you can see, I'm throwing down mini base at around the 2-minute mark as well. So I have 2 mini bases and a war council coming up around the 2-minute mark. So things are looking promising. At this point, you can spend as much supply as you want. You want to, like I said, hoard as much power as you want. So for this long time build, essentially what you're going to do is be prepared for any impending push. Keep in mind that the biggest and most impactful pushes from enemy players happen around the 3-minute mark to around the 4-minute 30 mark. Sometimes, like with these heroes coming out and all these builds lately, you're seeing a lot of players say bring their heroes out with a couple units around the 3-minute, 30-minute mark. I'm sorry, 3-30-minute mark, and then what you'd see is, say, you know, the bigger pushes with, say, more armies come out around 4 minutes. So you're going to want to have a sizable force to deal with these units when you get to that point in the game. I'm actually curious. Look, I'm spinning all around, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Well, it's not bad. So one particular scenario also that I love about Colony is that his leader powers kind of slowly build up to this kind of perfect ring of success. As you're going to see here, I'm just kind of adding all these grunts in every now and again, trying to keep it. Somehow I didn't get that power node right there. I don't know why the hell my guy didn't just cap that. But anyway, regardless of which, as soon as your Hunter Captain comes out, you're ready to go. The leader power wheel. You start off with skitterers. You're going to want to get skitterers or even living barrier. Living barrier can still be a very effective leader power to use. So be prepared to think about, say, which situation you want to use. I prefer skitterers because, say, in a really, really hot, tough scenario, I can just pump out as many skitterers as possible and, say, attach with some of my units and keep my units kicking no problem. So that's up to you guys. After the Skitterer Living Barrier option, you do get the Engineer Swarm. I never get anything else but the Engineer Swarm. I love it to death. It's so crucial in this early part of the game where you're going to need to defend. As you can see, I also got a 3rd mini base there as I'm waiting for that 1,000 power, or I'm sorry, as I'm kind of getting ready for this the tier 3 unlock. I'm already at tier 2 at the 4-minute mark, and I still have an okay army. I throw down a power extractor as my first building after my base is upgraded. I'm going to throw down a harvester right after that. As you're going to see here, the second I go back to the middle of the map, I have 3 grunts, 2 grunts, and a Hunter Captain. And this guy has a massive army of Brute Riders and Yap, crazy, what do they call, cannon fodders and all that craziness. So What we need to do is be prepared for the worst case scenario. The second that third extractor is up, you really need to upgrade it and be ready to go. Of course, I'm getting a little hectic here because you're definitely going to run the scenario where you need to defend against this massive attack, or any massive attack. And you're going to have basically no units. So it comes down to sort of a luck of the draw / how good are you as a player situation. As you're going to see here, I'm kind of saving up as enough money. Luckily for me, I can get, say, a bunch of grunts rolling, some choppers rolling, and a couple other options as well. So that way I can just kind of prepare myself for this attack. Alright, so in this situation, I'm going to put my Hunter Captain inside of a garrison. I'm getting ready to deal with this attack. I have my choppers out running around doing some ram damage. All I'm going to do is just like this. I'm going to have to sacrifice getting my Tech 3 a little bit quicker so that way I can go right into a shield generator. Then I also have Hunter's Brand right at around this 5-minute 30 mark. So even if you've lost basically your entire army, they're on the 5-minute 30 mark because of all the mini bases you've bought, because of maybe if you buy an expansion milice, whatever you plan on doing, you will have that Hunter's Brand in a perfect time frame. So as long as you keep your army alive until that 5-minute 30 mark while you're getting pushed, you will be in a great position. Luckily, all of these units are only going to be pushing my main base and try to drop me because this heroic AI is trying to cheese me. I can't believe that. And as you also notice, I did start my Tech 3 upgrade just before the 6-minute mark. So we are just looking so good right now. There goes the Hunter Brand doing a lot of damage, basically killing everything in that army. And then I get the shield gen up as to basically just add that insult to injury. So at the same time here, what I'm going to be doing, I choked on that. I'm actually going to be getting advanced logistics after I upgrade all of my harvesters here and seeing if I can hold off this attack. Now, like I said, if you go for advanced logistics, someone could do the math on it if they want. I do not think that getting advanced logistics makes up for the 500 power that you lose getting the upgrade. What I mean by that is the benefits you get from advanced logistics, getting a faster build time of a Scarab, might not be worth it losing that 500 power and having to wait. So you guys decide what you want. In this particular scenario where you're most likely going to be dealing with an attack, dealing with an enemy onslaught, getting advanced logistics at this first before you get the Scarab is going to help you defend your base, especially because you can pump out as many grunts or choppers or skitters even as possible. All of those units require very small amounts of power, meaning that the 2,000 supply, 2,000 power you're going to attempt to get is going to be much more feasibly possible coming up here at around I believe around the 8 to 9 to 10 minute mark. I myself personally have had the Scarab starting build time at around the 8-minute mark, and I've actually had it up as late as 11 minutes, I believe. So, you know, you have to really play with your situation at hand. If you don't get touched, say in a team game, if you don't get attacked very early, then you can, of course, get something like that, say a little bit sooner. But, you know, it's all about how your situation is and how you're going to adapt to the situation. Like I said, I recommend getting the advanced logistics. That way you can get more units out to defend during the onslaught. Of course, you can also try a couple different methodologies as well. Getting 3 extractors fully upgraded on your main base before the 10-minute mark is why this is possible. This is also another methodology if you guys want to try to opt in for a different kind of play. Maybe you want to go for speed locusts, speed banshees. Colony banshees are ridiculous. Man, my throat has just been sore as hell, so I sound like a fucking prepubescent boy. I apologize for that voice crack. But as I was saying, instead of going for Scarab, you can also opt into, say, like basically vehicles. You can go air, you can go raid camp into hunter range, or whatever you want to do. It's totally up to you. With the new balance changes, it kind of allows a little more freedom in what you want to do for your build orders. Makes things a lot more fair and even, in my opinion. A lot of people don't agree with that. But, of course, that's just the idea behind it. So, with this situation where you have a decently sized army, you've held off an attack, keep in mind your opponent most likely is in a situation where they're teching up, expanding, doing anything like that. So you still, even if you destroy everything that was at your front door, you really don't want to take up and push on that early attack. It just doesn't make sense. A lot of times when you try to do that, an enemy will still have a bigger army and they can just rinse everything. Of course, here, like, he's got Grunt Dome, dropping some shields on me, making my life very, very miserable. So what I'm going to do at this point is just kind of defend as much as possible and then purchase my Scarab here in a couple seconds. Yeah, just hit 2,000 power there, so that gives me an opportunity. Of course, look at that. I also have to lose a unit there so that way I can start my Scarab. But say at the 9-minute mark, starting it after basically losing, get in a spot where I almost lost my base. This is a fairly decent play, so I'm going to back up with all these infantry units, man. The heroic AI that's not too bad, man. That's better than some players I've seen in, say, in random threes. So, of course, same situation. You've got the Scarab on the way. every single time you lose a unit, you want to make another one, so that way with advanced logistics you're kind of paying yourself off. And then also you have a shield sitting at your main base. In a situation, think about this, in a situation where you don't have to get a shield, you don't have to make backup units, you don't have to do anything, you can get a Scarab up as quickly as 10 minutes. So keep that in mind. This build is also very effective for that. But at the same time, the reason I'm showing you this build is that it gives the opportunity for the player to get defensive if they want to. They can, say, opt into whatever situation they need to in order to keep themselves in the game. So that's kind of why I'm showing you this, guys. And also, it's also fun to just see these new builds now. I don't think I've been asked a million times, like, how do I do a Condor Rush, how to do a Scarab Rush? This is how you do it, essentially. I mean, this is basically as cookie cutter as it gets. Like, you got 3 mini bases and a main base, you're quad pumping choppers to defend. It's a very scary position to be in as well. Like I said, especially against skilled players, are going to find a way to break you most likely. But say against players that aren't really sure what they're doing, like this computer, then all you got to do is just kind of hold the defense as long as possible. Also say, having things like I said, Hunter's Brand is incredibly helpful. What I always do, this is my order, guys, this is what I always do every single game, is Colony. Not every single one, but most likely 99% of the time I go Skitterer, Engineer Swarm, Hunter Brand upgraded twice, and then I go for Combat Repair right after that, because Combat Repair is the best thing that Colony has to offer. So the second you have a Combat Repair Scarab, you know, at the 12-minute mark, maybe sooner, you know, it's just ridiculous. Like, so 11 minutes 13 seconds I have my Scarab out, and I have a full pop army essentially fairly close to it. I've been holding off attacks constantly this whole game. I haven't been able to go across the map, but at this point you have an ultimate unit, and his army is generally speaking going to be something much weaker than that. If not, then you have this ultimate unit to kind of even things out. Often what I do, guys, after this situation is I opt in for a double Apex build. I will sack my War Councils, go for double Apex, then make as many Banshees as possible. My reason being for that is that generally players will freak out and go for anti-vehicle situations, so they'll go Hunter or Cyclops as much as possible. So having the Banshee support will come in and make things easy. It's also because they generally tech into raid camps or barracks to get those anti-vehicle units. So it will take them a while to sack their barracks or raid camps and then go into some anti-air. So, and also, I don't know if you guys remember, say back in the Banshee meta, I call it the Banshee meta because Banshees were just spammed by everyone. The Banshee Combat Repair is some of the best situation you can be in as a Colony player. So just keep that in mind. In this particular scenario, I'm going to be going for a Foundry into an Apex. So my reason for that is that I wanted to get some variation of vehicle units and just kind of take out all these other random units that are sitting at my base. And of course, even look at this. I think my army comp is literally a Hunter Captain and a Scarab. That's all it takes. So just keep that in mind. At this point in the game, 12 minutes into the game, if you've been constantly attacked, you defended all these attacks, this is all you need to handle. So I'm going to let the game play a little bit more. I might say just show you some highlights as my army composition gets bigger and deals with this situation. Say when I take over the map, start buying bases back. But this is the entire concept behind the Scarab Rush play. It's really, I shouldn't even call it a rush. I don't even, it's ridiculous. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. This is Slick from Breaking the Clutch, and we'll see you guys next time.
Harvester constructed. Turret constructed. All units. All units. They're building. No move. All units. The enemy is shelling against us. All units. 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 Augmented Harvester upgrade complete. All units. All units. All units. Ready to go to work. What is our mission? Check all power extractor constructed. Banshee under assault from ground troops. By your command.
All units.
The enemy is attacking me.
All units. All units. All units. All units. All units. Vehicle level 1 researched.
Our enemies have arrived.
All units. All units. All units. All units. All units. All units. Leader point. Earth. Power extractor construction. All units.
I'm under fire from enemy vehicles.
All units. All units. Power extractor constructed. All units. All units. All units. All units. All units. All units. Harvester constructed. All units. All units. All units. The final enemy base is under attack. All units. All units. Their structure gone. All units.
Shot! Ready to roll out!
Enemy base is under attack. They're building no more. An enemy has lost all bases. All units. All units.
Locust on the field.
All units. All units. All units. Harvester constructed. All units. All units. Power extractor constructed.